This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action, and you're listening to the Krypton Report.
Hi, this is David Patrick Wilson. I played Superman, Clark Kent, in the television production of It's a Bird, It's a Plane, enjoying every minute of being right here on the Krypton Report.
Look up in the sky, the birds, the plane.
Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast. I am Tyler, the Superman in Blue, and I've assembled a team. Because today we are going to rank Superman films. As we prepare for Superman 2025, we're looking back on all the stuff that Man of Steel has done and accomplished. And with me today, I have assembled the great and powerful Mr. James Cole.
You've assembled me. I didn't know I came in pieces.
Yeah, I had to order, some came from China, some came from Taiwan, some came from Canada, and I just had to put them together.
It cost you like 45% more to assemble me.
Yep, but you're worth every dime, buddy. All right.
Appreciate it.
Welcome. We also got Levi back.
Hey.
And we got Brad, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Yes, otherwise known as Sutargos, the kaiju from Krypton.
Yeah, I can't do it justice like he can, so I have to let him do it. But so what we've done is I made a list of Superman films, both live action and animated, okay? And the guidelines were Superman has to be like the main protagonist. So there's no Justice League films. In this, sorry, and I avoided pretty much I debated BVS isn't in here. I debated it, but I feel like that's more of a Batman movie, and Superman really got pushed to the back. So I've assembled, I can't remember how many, 21 films. Okay, and I made this so we'll run through this first. This is just kind of random order. It started it being chronological, but I think I just ended up just throwing stuff together. But our film lists include Superman and the Mole Men. I did not include I know, I love your shirt.
Appropriate for this episode.
I have my Super Dad shirt on, okay, and my new Superman hat.
Nice.
Looks like Levi has Black Adam.
Yes.
And James, you're just wearing green.
I am just wearing green.
Kryptonite James.
Yep.
James Kryptonite coming at us. I did not include the movie serials because they're a different breed and they're not really like a movie, and they're not easy to get a hold of if you don't already own them. So we have Superman and the Mole Men. Now we have Superman the movie, but we're not ranking the individual cuts. But when you do add the movie, I want you to tell me what cut is your preferred cut: theatrical, the extended, director's cut, or the 3-hour extended cut. We have Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. I did make it its own movie. We have Superman 3, Superman 4, Superman Returns, Man of Steel, the Lois and Clark pilot, because technically it was a made-for-TV movie. They shot it on film. It was designed to be a made-for-TV movie. And it's longer than a regular episode. And then the season kind of started after that. Because if you watch the second episode, there's some slight changes and adjustments to things. So it kind of stands on its own. We are going to rank where we predict that James Gunn's film will be in our list. And then after the movie comes out, we'll kind of see how close we were. Superman Brainiac Attacks, Superman Doomsday, Superman versus the Elite, also known as James on a Friday Night, The Death of Superman, Reign of the Supermen. And yes, I did include Reign of the Supermen because Superman is a very big part of it.
In fact, there are 4 Supermen.
Yes. And I did split The Death of Superman and The Reign of Superman as separate films because they truly are, even though they did put out one together. Superman Red Sun, Superman Man of Tomorrow, All-Star Superman, Superman Unbound, the Superman The Last Son of Krypton, which was a full-length animated feature when it came out on VHS, the first 3 episodes, because that's how I had it. I have It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman because technically it's a TV movie. And then our honorable mention is Superman Shazam, The Return of Black Adam. I put that as honorable mention because it's great, but technically it's a short.
Right.
So that is our films, my friends. So that is our reference guide. We will now kick our reference guide off, and we will begin with our bottom, number 21. And we'll go Levi, Brad, James, me. So Levi, what is your number 21?
So down here, it's the stuff that I'm familiar with but haven't seen in a very long time, or have only seen brief glimpses of. So I went with It's a Bird, It's a Plane.
All right.
Superman.
And I'm not like there will be no argument. I think what's really going to be fun is when we get into our top 5.
Mm-hmm. See how far apart or how similar we are going up the scale.
Levi, I just noticed you got a nice little goatee going on, man.
Trying.
I am clean shaven, fellas, because
you are.
Sunday we were doing an event at work, and like hold on, I'll show you. Even my hair is re-dyed black. Because I'm playing Superman, I'm dressing up for the kids. It's a kids palooza, so like all the kids are in foster care and stuff come out for a big event. It's open to the public, so I will be dressed up as Superman. So I started, clean shaving for a little bit so that it wasn't such a drastic look when I did it. So after Sunday, I'll slowly start to grow some stuff back, but
you'll let it come back in.
There is no wrong answers. This is purely our personal opinions. So we're just going to have fun with it. All right, Brad, you're number 21.
All right, so like a bunch of these I had tied. So instead of 21, I got like 15 places in total. Should I just like start at 15th or just wait for you guys to catch up?
So you just have 1 through 15?
Yep.
All right, I hear you. I'll make a note. Brad sucks. I'm just playing.
Oh, wow.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, even there, you can use your 15s and just break them down. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that most of these on our lists, we all like to some degree or another. I doubt that there are many that you really actually hate. So
yeah, like there was like the ones like, oh, I know this will be on the bottom, but where? And then there's the ones like, oh, I know this will be on the top, but where? But there's none on here that I hate. So
same here.
All right, James, what's your 21?
So the bottom 3 to start are actually just 3 that I haven't even seen or watched yet, so I can't even rank them on there. So I'm just gonna have to drop, It's a Bird, It's a Plane. I haven't gotten to watch that yet.
It's understandable, and that's what I told you guys. My number 21 is Superman Brainiac Attacks. To me, this just doesn't work for me because it's like it's got some different voices. It looks like the animated series, but it's really not.
Lower quality.
It just felt like lower quality, not as good. And I remember I have it, I own it. But
I just watched it a few
and
minutes ago.
It just wasn't doing it for me. So number 20, Levi.
20, we'll go with the other one that I haven't had much exposure to, Superman and the Mole Men.
All right. James, 20. James is 20.
Showing off that beard.
Oh, yeah, 20? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to step off for 1 sec. So my 20 is going to just have to be Brainiac Attacks. I haven't seen it. So
see, and this is where I said we're going to have some stuff that's kind of flowing here. My 20 is It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman. And I have watched it. So, but it was, I mean, it has its moments of enjoyability, but it was made on the cheap. And it's, the quality is not great because they haven't actually given it a good release. All right, number 19, Levi.
Brainiac Attacks. It's the last one that I haven't actually seen.
Okay. James.
So y'all might hate me for this.
There's no hate here.
I haven't watched the Richard Donner cut yet.
Okay,
So-
nice,
Okay,
nice.
James, you can
That
go.
one's
That surprises me.
I have not watched that one yet, so
Well, I know that
I
you'll
can't
at
really
least-
comment.
I know
I
you'll
want
at least
to.
see it. I know you'll see it this December because we're going to watch it together in December.
Well, yeah,
You know-
I didn't own it before I got the 5 movie Blu-ray set, so I never had it before now. So I've only actually had the opportunity to be able to watch it within like the last 6 months since I bought it, since I bought that Blu-ray set. So
You know, James, that whole conversation we had before we started recording, Mr. Director's Cut.
right.
Oh,
I know that's a big one, huh?
Oh, he put you in your place. 10 points for Levi. It's like whose line is it anyways, but the points don't matter. All right, my number 19 is Red Sun.
Ooh.
It's just not one I go back to. You know, it's not a bad story. I don't hate the story, even though it is different from the book.
Yeah, law liberties.
You know, but it's not like to me like true Superman. So it's my number 19. All right, 18, Levi.
Oh, I thought, okay, yeah. Mine is, so this is the first one of the stuff I have seen.
Yep.
It has been a very long time since I have seen it, but it's the Lois and Clark pilot, because we all know how I feel about Dean Cain. So,
All right. Yeah, we do. All right, James, you're number 18.
So my number 18 is actually Superman 4.
Ooh.
Just I haven't watched that movie that often. I've only seen it a couple of times. So
Hey.
I just know it's pretty campy, pretty cheesy, and that's what I remember from it.
Like I said, there's no wrong answers. Man.
No, I know.
My number 18 is Superman and the Mole Men. I like George in it. He's got some good parts, but as a movie and everything, it just doesn't hold up. It works better as the 2 episodes at the end of season 1. Number 17, Levi.
this is where I go Red Sun for what you already said. It just doesn't feel like Superman. It's a cool alt-world take, but I'll pass on it most times.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched it. I think I watched it when I bought it, and then I watched it one more time shortly later because James and I were reviewing it. So I think I've only watched it twice when it first came out, and that's been it. But I have it. All right, James, you're 17.
My 17 is Superman and the Mole Men. You know, I mean, George Reeves is that's what really sells it on that one. He does a really great job.
He does. It's one of those that's worth watching once, just because he does a good job, and his speech and the message of that is really strong and so applicable even today.
70 years later.
And that's why I say it works so much better as a special like 2 episode at the end of season 1 of the show than it does as a standalone movie. My number 17 is one that James and I watched recently, but it's Superman Doomsday.
Ooh.
I like the first part of that movie, but once Superman dies, I don't really like where the movie goes. I also don't really like the relationship between him and Lois in that movie. I think it's really weird. And it seems very awkward. So, yeah. All right, Levi, 16.
I went with Last Son of Krypton. I have watched these. It's the first 3 episodes, isn't it? Yeah. My son is very recently asking to watch Superman, so we're putting on the animated series a lot. So I've seen it a lot in the last few months, and it definitely works better as 3 episodes than I think as like a sit down and watch a movie type thing. So,
Levi, you're raising them right, bringing up good parenting.
He's asking for Superman.
It's one of those things when your kid actually likes the things that you like, you're like, oh my God, and you just spend a bunch of money and give them stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Here. All right, James, you're number 16.
is Superman Doomsday. I mean, for just about everything that you said. I mean, beyond the first 23 minutes and change of that movie, it takes a weird bit of a turn. The relationship primarily, like Superman is living a double life with Lois. Yeah. Beyond the Doomsday stuff in that movie, that's why it's down.
All right. My number 16 is Superman 3. I have only watched Superman 3, I think 3 times.
Nice little pun there. Superman 3 times.
There is a good movie in there. There's stuff I like in the movie, but as a whole, I don't go back to it because there's a lot I don't like. That's why I like Superman Redeemed, but that's another story. All right, now Brad will be joining us.
Yeah.
Number 15, Levi.
This is where I had Superman Doomsday, and you guys made me rethink. I've got my letterbox open. That's what I have everything ranked on right now.
Nice.
And I had forgotten. It's been probably 6 or 7 years since I had watched it, and I forgot how weird the relationship got. And I had it a bit higher because I'm a whore for a good Doomsday movie, but that dropped it back down.
You know, that whole part where he's like, I don't even know your real name. It's Kal-El. You know, like it just feels weird that she's dating Superman and he hasn't told her he's Clark, and like it just feels weird, you know, like
yep.
All right, Brad, 15.
All right, number 15. Before I do that, however, one big thing for you guys as well as all of our viewers: tomorrow's Free Comic Book Day.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
My girlfriend got me this poster a few days ago. I absolutely love it.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah. But as for number 15, my 15th place would be Superman 3. Superman 3, I like to compare to basically the Batman Robin of the Christopher Reeve films. It's too much of a comedy rather than, a Superman film. That and like outside like the fights with evil Superman, there's really no good fight scene or anything like that. And Richard Pryor, I love. He's hilarious, especially if you one joke I can't say on the show.
What you talking about?
But I know he regretted making it, and like he's just so goofy and over the top and everything. He wanted to be like a serious actor in that movie. It just doesn't work. And it's the closest thing we get to a Bizarro fight outside of a later film we get. But yeah, just 3. There's parts of it I do like, but I've only seen it once. That was it.
All right.
He takes the cake for me. Like I said, I know I watched the first time I watched it, and then I think I watched it one more time, but then the last time I watched it is when we did our commentary, which was a few years ago. So I know I've seen it at least twice, but I think 3 times. James, your number 15.
My number 15 here is Red Sun. The book is superior to the film, but the film is pretty decent, and I've watched it a couple of times, but it's definitely just your Elseworlds tale, and they kind of yada yada through the last through the third act. So,
oh yeah,
makes sense. Even though James is a huge fan of Svetlana.
Svetlana.
First time I ever heard that name, I had a lady come in to pay her cable bill, and she was talking. It was a daughter talking for her mom, and her mom was Svetlana. Oh, that's pretty sweet. All right.
Someone in my old job was actually named Svetlana when I was in Illinois.
That's sweet.
Yeah, we call her Sveta.
I can see that. It makes sense. Cool. My number 15 is Reign of the Supermen.
Really?
I enjoy the movie, and there's parts I really like in it, but there's just something about and I think part of it could be the past few times I've watched it as the complete story because I have that on digital as well as on Blu-ray.
Same here.
And I just feel like the pacing and the writing, because it's a different writer for Reign of the Superman than it was for Death of Superman. And I just feel like there's something in the writing beats and stuff, but it's still good, but it's just not one I go to. Even though I really love Superboy, the way they did him in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Wish we would have got more of him in the animated universe.
Agreed.
But all right. Number 14. Levi.
My turn to beat a dead horse. Superman 3. With that one, the story of I remember seeing it as a kid on like PBS or something like that, like one of the free over-the-air networks. And the only thing I remember about it was the scene with Richard Pryor using the computer to redirect the missile or whatever it was. He had Superman chasing around, and like the facial expression she was making and being like, this is not a Superman movie. And this was before I was a big Superman fan. So
you could feel it.
Yeah, that was my impression of it. I don't think I've watched it since. If I have, it wasn't on purpose and it wasn't memorable.
All right, Brad.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. This is like one of the 2 films on this list I have not seen. All I remember seeing is a clip I think you shared a few episodes back that I was a part of, as well as that brief section of the documentary they did on the in 2006 when Superman Returns came out. That huge like retrospective of Superman from like the comics.
Great documentary.
Was it?
It's a great documentary.
Oh yeah, and I love it that they upload it on YouTube. The only thing I can remember is just that bit and then the whole song where it's like "Sweet Dreams," something plan. It's like da 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 da. I'm Superman. That's all I know. But it's probably better than 3. That's all I can really say.
All right, James.
All right. Well, number 14 is Superman 3. I got nostalgia for it. I'll watch it. I've seen it more than Superman 4. And big fan of Richard Pryor growing up. So,
all right. My number 14 is Last Son of Krypton from the animated series. It's just, I enjoy it. I kind of wish they had done a little bit more Smallville in there, maybe a little less Krypton at the beginning. But yeah, I had that VHS I got as a kid. So, all right, number 13, Levi.
This one's Superman 4 for me. It's I know I've seen it. I don't remember anything about it other than like when I see the clips on social media or something. But it's definitely a movie that came out.
He's like, it's a movie. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. 3-act structure. All right, Brad.
All right, funny how you mentioned it. 13th place for me is also Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. I've only seen the movie once, much like Superman 3. And I did like it, though I will admit it's a very flawed film. But there are some good ideas in there. Plus, I actually like Nuclear Man. I think he's cool. And Todd McFarlane, before you lose the license to the DC, make that into a figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, like, the one thing I remember the most from that film is that y'all probably know what I'm thinking of too, is that one shot of Superman flying being used over and over and over again.
Yes.
And then come this year, we get a rematch of this at the box office. Only instead of Superman fighting Nuclear Man, it's the Sentry. My friend Jesse, before I saw Superman 4, he said, like, yeah, Nuclear Man's a lot like Sentry. I'm like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And I'm a big fan of Sentry, too. And then when I finally watched the movie, I'm like, okay, Jesse, you're right.
I had yet to put that together, but you're right.
In fact, somebody had a really cool fan art of that, too.
That makes sense. All right, James. Number 13.
Number 13 is Last Son of Krypton.
All right. So it's just funny. James is like just taking like for just like one off.
Right. Pretty close.
My number 13 is All-Star Superman. I think the film is really good, but there's things in it that are same thing with like things in the book that I'm not a huge fan of. It's just not one I go back to that often. So I'd like if I was going to throw in a Superman film, it's just not one I would reach for. But it's right there, kind of in the middle, because there is some good to it, and we're going to rewatch it here soon because I have wanted to revisit it. So, all right, lucky number 12, Levi.
This is All-Star Superman for me. If I want All-Star Superman, I'm just going to read the graphic novel because it works better as a graphic novel than it does as a movie with how episodic the original story.
And that's part of the issue is it is episodic. I am glad though the film cut out the Bizarro stuff because that would have driven me crazy. We all know how much I love and not love Bizarro. But all right, Levi says All-Star Superman for number 12. Brad, what do you got?
For my 12th pick, it is Superman and the Mole Man. I've only seen it once, and the best way I could describe it is Superman in a sci-fi B-movie. It's got a good message, like you said before, about how not to judge others based upon their appearances and whatnot, as that is very true to Superman. In fact, one of my favorite Golden Age images is that one poster where Superman's talking like, hey, no matter what race, religion, gender, etc., you are, we're all American. We should all be good to each other.
Man, that's something we should, bring back.
But one thing, though, I find funny about the movie, besides that one scene where like one of the mole men falls down, it's just like this really horrible-looking puppet that George catches. The mole man kind of looked like Gargamel from the Smurfs, if he was a mutant. But it's true. Someone brought that up to me once. I'm like, there's no way. And I watched him like, oh my god, you were right.
Yeah, like this totally is Gargamel. Maybe that's where he came from. Are these your people, Gargamel?
Can catch the Smurfs, but he catch some radiation and he mutated.
All right, James, 12.
12 is All-Star Superman. 12 is All-Star. What's that?
Anything to add?
I mean, it's what they boiled it down to make the movie with. They took most of the most important chapters to create the film, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's done really well. It's pretty good. I feel like it's missing stuff because the book was so good with so many different beats throughout that got skipped over. But
it's been trying to think when you and I did that episode where we did our All-Star Superman episode was basically we did the book and the movie and then we talked about each and everything. It's been at least 5 years, maybe 6 since we did that. It's crazy. Thank you. We've been doing this that long. All right, my number 12 is Superman 4. I've talked about this many times, but like I swear this movie was always on WGN.
Yep.
At my parents' or at my grandparents' house. So like I saw it so much more than I saw Superman 1 or 2 because I feel like they weren't on TV as much. But I feel like this movie just must have been like cheap as heck to broadcast, so it was always on. And I just thought Superman fighting Nuclear Man, was awesome as a kid. It wasn't until much later I learned that it was cheap. But I have just there's good stuff I like in Superman 4. Like I like him back on the farm. We see him as Clark, and him being sick, and the crystal and stuff like that. I think it's neat. Lex is back with future Lex Luthor, Lenny Luthor. So there's a lot I like in Superman 4. But I have a lot of nostalgia love for it too.
Speaking of which, what do you think the comic book adaptation of Superman 4, Tyler?
I've never read it. I want to because I need to find it.
It's not that hard. I found like at a half price book years ago for like $2, I think.
Dang.
It's the ending's different. It makes more sense. There's no whatever the other love interest was flying her into space.
Yeah.
And how somehow she survived in space. But I will say one thing I forgot to mention. It's funny how they made nuclear now canon to the DCU.
Yeah.
It's like for like a page though, right? Or
yeah, Superman flies like out into the Phantom Zone. It's during the Bendis run,
right.
And like Nuclear Man's there, and he just punches him, and that's pretty much it. It's when he was enraged by, it was part of that whole story. Like right, I think because it was right after John came back.
Yeah, when he got aged up.
Yeah, and Superman was pissed. I think it was also when the world was being pushed into the Phantom Zone. And they didn't realize it's back in that Bendis run.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just like in a page. And I was like, you could have done more with him because he's not a horrible character.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right. We're about to hit the top 10 here soon. But first, we got to get to number 11, Levi.
I went with Superman versus the Elite. It's one I want to revisit it because I remember liking it. But I also remember in a lot of ways it doesn't feel like a Superman story. I know it's one issue in the comics, and it almost feels like not quite an alternate world take on them, but like, hey, this is definitely like a standalone, do its own thing Superman story.
I'm not ready to talk about this movie yet. I'll wait. Brad.
All right, number 11. The one I just watched before we started doing this episode, Superman Brainiac Attacks. First time I've ever seen it. I liked it. There's some stuff that's fun about it, but like, it doesn't have the same quality as like the later DC animated films that come out, all the other original ones, as well as the ones in the shared universe and whatnot. But it's nice to see some of the voice actors return. I like Lance Henriksen as a Brainiac. I thought he was cool. No idea why they didn't get Clancy Brown to do Lex Luthor.
I know it's weird.
Yeah, whoever really got him was weird.
It was Powers Booth.
I don't remember him. The voice I do. I just can't think of the face. But it's fun and entertaining for what it is. But like, there's something missing to it. Like, I don't want to say like the soul of like the Superman animated series.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, I completely understand. It's like you can't quite put your finger on it.
Exactly. But it did make me want to rewatch the Superman animated series. But yeah, other than that, it's an entertaining film for what it is, but it's lacking the soul, or maybe it's just lacking that Bruce Timm quality because he wasn't on it.
Could be.
And like the animation style looks a little bit adapting the Bruce Timm art style. The budget for the animation doesn't feel like it's up to par of that.
I got you. All right, James.
Number 11, right?
Yep.
I went with Superman Man of Tomorrow.
Hey, me too. Me too. All right, you go, and then I'll talk. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, Superman Man of Tomorrow is pretty good. It's one of the better Tomorrowverse films out of the lot. But the biggest thing that's a little weird for me is the kaiju parasite in the end of the movie. Otherwise, I mean, I think it's okay. We get introduction to Lex Luthor, Martian Manhunter, Lobo, and a version of Parasite, and kind
Parasite.
of an origin story of that version, that Superman. Yeah,
there's a lot. There's a lot I like in this. Like, I like that he's an intern. I like how he kind of. I like the villain choice of being Parasite in this. I like how it ends. The third act, but I don't like the kaiju Parasite. Even like the way they did Martian Manhunter, Lobo, and Superman. I've heard the writer talk about this, each representing like a different part of the psyche, the id, super ego, and ego, and then each representing that they're the last survivor of their alien race. But there's just something about it that I can't quite put my finger on that doesn't make me love it. It's almost like it's a little stiff and sterile. but I like the voice cast. There's a lot I like in it, but it's just something there that just doesn't tip it over for me.
I'm saving my thoughts.
All right, Levi, we're in the top 10, fellas. Levi, number 10.
Top 10, I've got Superman Unbound here. This one, I have a lot of fun with it. It's one of the first DC animated ones I watched because it was right around the time I was getting heavily into Superman. And is it the best Superman movie? Absolutely not. But it does a pretty good job with Brainiac. It's got Supergirl, and I enjoy it.
I'm not ready to talk about this one just yet. All right, Brad, number 10.
All right, my 10th place pick is the Lois and Clark pilot. I barely remember anything from this pilot because it's been like years since I watched off the DVD set. All I remember was liking Dean Cain. I remember the joke his mom made about like, oh, well, that's why they call him tights. I remember there being a murder. I think it was like some kind of comedian who played the guy who got murdered. And I remember Terry Hatcher doing like a Chun-Li spinning kick. But I remember it being entertaining and it being like my first introduction to Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman, and becoming a fan of it from the same time.
All right, James, number 10.
Lois and Clark.
Team James. Yeah.
This is hilarious. Continue, James.
I just a lot of nostalgia for that. I've seen it, the pilot, plenty of times. I owned just the first season for a long time, so when I'd watch it, it'd start right there at the beginning, So yeah, I grew up watching Lois and Clark. I always enjoyed it,
Calm down, Levi.
Real life and all leaving. That aside, I watched that long before all that ever happened. So,
and here's hoping we get a Blu-ray set because, like, have you guys watched Lois and Clark on HBO Max?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I watched it like a few weeks ago, and I was like, "What?" And I texted you this too, Tyler. I was like, watching, like, wow, this video quality is really crisp. Was this like this on the DVDs? And then I put on DVDs. I'm like, no,
it's not. All right, so my number 10 is Superman Unbound. And that's what I thought was funny is me and Levi got this one the same, and James and Brad got theirs the same. Yeah. Same things that Levi said. I like this. I like the Brainiac attack story. I have a pitch that I think the sequel to James Gunn's Superman should be based off this story, and it should be a Superman Supergirl film.
I like that.
Like with them two crossing over, with having Supergirl next year. I think it would be great that the second film be Brainiac and be based off this story,
and we could finally have Brainiac in the movies.
Exactly. I don't particularly like the way they drew Superman's face. Like his chin looks a little elongated.
Yeah.
I just recorded an episode with Michael Bailey talking about this. That'll be out sometime in June. But for the most part, I really like this movie. I really like John Noble's voice for Brainiac.
Oh yeah.
I really like Matt Bomer as Superman too. He's another one. If this is the only time we ever get him as Superman, because he would have made a really good Superman in live action too, I think.
We got those Japanese commercials, man.
but he does a great job with the voice of it. And if this is all we ever get of him as Superman, then I'm okay with that.
All right. We're now at the single digits, fellas. Number 9. Levi.
I got the theatrical cut of Superman 2 here. Mm-hmm. I preferred the Donner cut. It's as simple as that. Superman 2, the theatrical cut, it's a perfectly fine movie other than the memory wiping kiss, but Donner cut's superior in my opinion.
I'm going to wait to comment on this. Brad.
All right, my 9th pick is Superman Returns. I haven't watched this movie in over 20 years. Oof, feeling old just by saying that. But from what I remember, I liked it. I watched it numerous times and stuff. But the problems I feel like I'd have now with it revisiting is one, the lack of action sequences, even though as much as I love Superman the movie, with a modern day superhero film, you need a good action sequence. You need a good fight between like a supervillain or something like that. But the other problem is the length, because like didn't it clock in like 2.5, nearly 3 hours or something like that? And there's like a lot of boring parts, I remember. But I will say this: I absolutely love the imagery when they recreated the. They made a homage to the cover of Action Comics #1.
2 hours and 34. Just checking for you.
What was that?
2 hours 34.
Yeah, that's long.
I'd watch it just out of curiosity.
But Brandon Routh, I thought was a good Superman, though I don't really remember much about him. However, like looking back at some of the photos and everything, he doesn't look that bulked up. He kind of looks a little bit wimpy.
He's slender. He's a very slender Superman.
Yeah, they had him doing a lot of swimming. First.
Yeah, they made like smooth, lean muscle. Like, yeah.
Even though in a Crisis, like he would bulk up and he looked a lot better as Superman there. But I also do feel bad for Brandon because, much like someone else later on this list, he got screwed over, man. He got really screwed over. And I really wish those rumors about there being like a Superman Max show featuring Brandon Routh's Kingdom Come Superman would have been true, but we're at now. But make it McFarlane, make a toy out of it.
Oh, I totally want to McFarlane, Brandon Routh. Nice. As of this recording, today we dropped our episode that it's all about the Brandon Routh Superman that James and I just recently recorded. So
I'm looking forward to listening to it.
Okay, my number 9, Superman 2, the theatrical cut.
Skip me.
Oh, my bad, James.
I was gonna say, I think skip James.
My bad. I got excited. Okay,
you're good.
So,
no, go ahead. What's your number 9? I'll go next.
It's Superman 2, the theatrical cut. I know, like the general "you're scared to step outside" line is not in the Donner cut, but there's more that I like in the Donner cut. Thing with the Donner cut, we'll talk about more later. But yeah, we just recently rewatched this, and there's parts in it I like, and there's some parts I'm like, no. And a lot of it's like the editing order with Superman and Lois, the fact that I don't like the storyline. Okay, I'll be honest with you, boys. I do not like the Superman and Lois with Margot and Chris, because Margot likes Superman. She never really likes Clark, doesn't treat Clark right.
Right.
And then he gives up his powers. I'm like, bro, she loves you for the guy you are with your powers, not for who you are as a person. She don't even know you as a person. But yeah, all right, I'm done ranting. Superman 2 theatrical, my number 9. Now, James, you go, buddy.
My number 9 is Superman versus the Elite. So, I mean, I really, it's the first movie we talked on this podcast. First time I joined you here, and it's a really good story. It's a really interesting adaptation of, like you said, one issue of a comic. But George Newbern does a really great job.
Yeah, George Newbern is my favorite voice for Superman because he's done different things, but he's delivered some of my best favorite Superman lines.
Roll of cardboard, man.
So, all right, we're down to number 8, starting with Levi.
All right, here's the one that'll probably get me canceled as a Superman fan. This is where I have Superman the movie and just the theatrical cut.
Wow.
Is it iconic? Yes. Do I enjoy it a lot? Yes. But I didn't really watch a lot of Superman movies until I was in my teens and 20s, so I don't have quite the nostalgia for Chris's Superman that a lot of other people do.
No, I agree, and we'll talk about when we get there.
As Tyler's writing down the hashtag cancel Levi.
No, I get it, and I'll expand on things more when I get around to my when I talk about it. Brad, number 8.
Before I go to number 8, one quick question for you, Tyler. With your returns episode you just did you ever talk about why you don't consider like a sequel to Superman 1-2?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a whole theory in there, breakdown, and I'll send you my notes.
Yes, I'm looking forward to reading that.
After you listen to it, I'll send you my notes of how part of the episode is me proving that Brandon Routh is his own Superman. So,
all right, for my 8th pick, even though it was an honorable mention, and I just watched it last night, Superman Shazam. It's a short. You can't do much of it, especially.
But it's great.
Oh yeah, it's only like 22 minutes long, but it was a lot of fun. Seeing Superman finally fight Black Adam in animation, which to my knowledge never happened to that point, was cool. Black Adam was cool. Seeing like everyone return from Justice League Unlimited, George Newbern, whoever voice. I prefer to call him Captain Marvel, but most people are like now Shazam. So Shazam,
the Captain.
The Captain.
It's now the Captain.
Yeah, the real Captain Marvel, I should say. Shots fired. I thought his voice actor was really good, and yeah, it was just a fun, entertaining film. It's just short.
The graphic novel is pretty great too.
First Thunder.
I usually.
I know.
First Thunder.
Talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
And anytime we can see Superman chew out the wizard is.
Yeah, I wish they added that. Or adapted that into a new animated movie.
The speech that Clark gives about being good to Billy and stuff, I've actually used that with Solomon before.
Aww.
And everything, just talking about how sometimes it's really hard just to be good. All right, James. Don't want to skip James.
Tyler.
Number 8.
Number 8 is Superman 2.
Which one?
The theatrical. I already said I didn't see the Donner cut.
Oh yeah,
way back in like the.
I know.
Bottom 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I mean, because I've seen it, obviously, but I mean,
I hope you've seen it in the top 10.
Yeah, it's in the top 10. I hope I've seen it. Yeah, it's Superman 2. It's it's the one of the most iconic movies for Superman. Christopher Reeve. Just some weird stuff, that we've discussed over and over and over again about those movies.
Beating that dead horse.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm not gonna keep doing that. It's just, I love the movie, but that's where it lands.
All right, my turn. My number 8 is Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy this movie. I like this edit. It is one that when you watch, you have to understand that it starts with the ending of Superman the movie before Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, actually starts. So it starts weird because it's trying to show you where he would have ended Superman the movie.
Right.
And then, they have to use a screen test in it, and there's some stuff that I wish he would have got to actually film. And some people say it doesn't feel like a full movie. I don't feel that way. But I do like it better than the theatrical cut because I feel like the theatrical cut does have some hokey stuff in there. So that's my number 8. Number 7, Levi.
This is where I have the Donner cut. It's, like I said, it's my preferred cut of Superman 2. I remember I was working in a video entertainment type store when they finally released the Donner cut, and I think I bought the only copy that came in before we even put it on the shelves.
Smart.
Just purely based off the fact, like we were talking before we started recording, I'm like James, I absolutely love director's cut, so I saw director's cut of Superman 2 and snagged that real fast. Everything you just said, the screen test makes it feel a bit out of place, but I think if you know the history of the Donner cut and you understand that, yes, there's a screen test in this. Yes, some of this stuff is reused from the first movie, and he didn't get to film everything that he wanted to film. If you can get over those few things, I think it's the superior cut.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. All right, Brad, you're number 7.
All right. Before we get to 7, one thing I forgot to mention with Superman Shazam. If James Gunn ever does Shazam again, probably not with Zachary Levi because stuff he said recently, I would love to see him adapt Superman Shazam First Thunder. That'd be so great. And then you get to see that scene like you were mentioning before about Superman essentially chewing out the wizard. But yes, number 7. That is Superman Red Sun, the other movie I watched yesterday. First time I've ever seen the movie. Superman Red Sun is one of my all-time favorite Superman stories. I finished rereading it like sometime last year before. Now, the movie, I do have some irks with it, mainly because of the liberties it takes. Like, for one, what happened with Stalin, how Wonder Woman was kind of handled,
Mm-hmm.
and then, like, the ending not really being like how the book ends and stuff. Plus, I kind of miss, like, the whole Brainiac, Lex Luthor releasing, like, all of his, like, Superman detergents, like Parasite, a version of Doomsday, Metallo, etc., etc. But with those irks aside, I had a lot of fun with it. Whoever was voicing Superman, I thought did a good job. I like the way the art style is and animation is. Lex Luthor's voice kind of took some getting used to because I kept on thinking of the Brave and the Bold Batman. But outside of those minor irks and with the liberties it took, the only other problem is this is like a story that should have been adapted in a longer movie because you had to cut out a bit of too much, in my opinion, or like you needed to flesh out a few more things. But I did like the body horror with Superior Man. I kind of wish he had the weird deformed look he had in the comics, but still, for a first viewing of Superman Red Sun, I enjoyed it.
Okay. James, the never we forget. James.
Gonna make sure you try not to forget me now, huh?
You're coming for me.
He knows where
number
he lives.
7 is I do know where he lives, yeah. Number 7 is Superman Shazam. That is a great short. It is a really awesome short. The dynamic George Newbern playing Superman, the speech he gets to give to Shazam, to Billy, and I actually really like the art in that short and the coloring of the suit. I think it looks really good.
I think the animation style in that is just great.
It's just a shame we never got to see all three clash with each other in live action. Darn you, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson!
Yeah, that's I've talked about that before about what should have been Shazam 2, and yeah. All right, I'll let that be. Okay, my number 7 is the Lois and Clark TV pilot. Like I said before, it was filmed on film. It's longer. It's kind of nostalgic too, like for being a kid. I don't know if they ever released it on VHS alone, like back in the day, like they would do some things.
Oh yeah.
I tried to find it, but it has a different feel to it. I like the story. Like if they had never made like the series, you still would have felt like you got a story out of it. And I liked it. It's got the great line about Lex Luthor looking up. It's the first time we get a post-crisis Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I think John Shea is often forgot as Lex because when he returns in season 2, it's kind of awkward and stuff, but he did a great job. Huh?
Thanks for not spoiling it because I'm actually on season 2 right now.
So I feel like Terry Hatcher was a great Lois Lane, and just it works.
And Lois and Clark, best Perry White ever. Best Perry White.
I mean, he does have a great Perry White. So that is my number 7. All right. Number 6. Levi.
I've got Reign of the Superman here. I really enjoy this one. I think it works a lot better when you pair it directly with Death of Superman. But I really enjoy, like you said earlier, the stuff with Superboy is fantastic. And I like Lois being the driving force of this story. She's really the one pushing the plot forward at a lot of points. And I'm a sucker for Superman in a black suit. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. So, all right, Brad.
All right, for my 6th place, it's the beginning of a new dawn, of a new universe even. Superman, Man of Tomorrow. I've seen the film only once, and I think it was just when it came out on Blu-ray during the pandemic and everything. And I just got done reading Superman. Was it American Alien, right? Superman, American Alien, but
yeah,
okay. And then I watched the movie, and I could definitely see a lot of the inspirations from that book, especially with like when Superman had the whole aviator outfit and
yeah.
and everything, which I like that look too.
yeah, so do I.
But yeah, I thought the film was a lot of fun. I was happy to see Parasite in there because Parasite's one of my all-time favorite Superman villains. While you guys might be complaining about it, I didn't mind him being a giant kaiju at all. I thought that was cool. I thought the guy who played Lex Luthor was awesome. Zach
Quinto.
Yeah, Spock from the new Star Trek movies. The animation art style was interesting. It was different, but like it had like certain like flair and style to it, and yeah. Also, like seeing Lobo, and whoever played Lobo was great.
Ryan Hurst. He crushes it.
Yeah, like
Opie.
I would argue he beats the guy from Superman the animated series. But I liked him. I like the fact that he actually had a kryptonite ring before Lex too, mind you. And yeah, I love the fact that Red Trunks came back. I love the fact that the Red Trunks came back because if anyone knows anything about me, I love the fact that Superman has Red Trunks skin. Super duper happy he's happy with it, no pun intended. But yeah, also I thought it was a great start to this new universe, even if some of the films were varying in quality. That Green Lantern movie did have dirty. Excuse me, something in my throat or something. But yeah. Superman, Man of Tomorrow, 6th place.
All right, James.
So here, like we're getting into the top 5, and I kind of notice that none of us have talked about the new movie coming in yet either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've noticed.
It's hard to really, like give it a place in the top 5. So, I mean, I'm going to have to just drop it here at number 6. I feel like from what I've seen that it's probably going to crack into that top 5, maybe even top 3, because it's got some really cool, interesting bits that we have never seen on screen for Superman outside of animation. So, I have a feeling it will get higher once we get there, but I mean, I gotta drop Superman 2025 right now just because all we've seen is a sneak peek in a teaser trailer.
Yeah. All right. My number 6 is Superman versus the Elite. I really like this movie. I love George Newbern's delivery. I like the plot. I like the concept. It is my favorite out of the animated films. My negative towards it is I don't like the animation style for Superman himself.
Yeah, his head's weird.
If they would have done, say, like the way he looks in Unbound, would be better. I feel like this is a serious story, and I feel like it needed more of a serious looking Superman. He's got a big, like, American dad looking chin.
Good morning, USA.
Exactly, and he's hulkingly big as Clark and everything, and I feel like that just looks weird. Like the cover art is completely nothing like the animation,
right?
And I really hate when they did that.
In fact,
that's my biggest negative to it. So, all right, here we go.
Oh yeah, you're right. I just pulled it out from the shelf. You're right.
Everybody getting ready for the top 5. Top 5. Checking my list twice here.
Super Santa.
So, all right. Are we cool?
I hope I'm cool.
Are we coolio? Okay, number 5, Levi.
All right, so James brought up a great point, and he just made me slide it back a few spots on my list. Dropping Superman 2025. I think it will be top 5. I did have it before James started talking at 3 because everything we're seeing from it looks pretty incredible so far. But he is right; it should not be that high on the list as of yet. Although the rumor is the next trailer drops on May 18th. So,
I mean, we know we have to get it this month because they're not going to drop the trailer in June. Because I figured it'll be something like the trailer will drop and be like tickets on sale. You know,
it's weird how 10 years ago this marketing campaign feels so far.
But what are you talking about, Tyler? Them dropping a trailer that late? Could you imagine if they did that like with Jonah Hex or something? They released that trailer like a month or two before the movie comes out. I mean, could you imagine?
I mean, yeah, I don't even know what that movie is you're talking about. But yeah, continue, Levi.
Just the marketing for this looks good, but it feels very like a early MCU to me, where it was like teaser trailer and then months without anything, and then a final trailer a couple months before the movie comes out, and that's it.
I think they want to focus the marketing, like bombard it the last month. You know what I mean? Not do this extended. We've already known about this movie for like a year and a half. You know, they don't want to do the crap that they pulled for the last 10 years of talking about a movie and trying to say something to keep it in the consciousness for months and months and months on end. I think they're just like, let's keep it going, keep hinting at it, but when it's that last like 60 to 45 days before that movie comes out, you're gonna see it all over the place.
I mean, we all complained about how they oversaturated the marketing for BVS. I mean, we were hyped for that movie in 2013, you know, when they announced it, and they trailer after trailer giving stuff away.
Oh, yeah. Who made those trailers? Sony?
And then, I mean, more recently, look at the marketing they did with The Flash. I mean, gosh, if they would have like not given out free tickets for that movie, how much money could they have made? Like, what was the point of that marketing?
Yeah.
Like, but all right, Brad.
All right.
Number 5.
Number 5. And this is where the beginning of my list is nothing but ties. So, for 5th place, I have a tie between Superman Unbound and Superman Doomsday. A Superman Unbound, I was really interested in because of Brainiac. Plus, I liked the storyline from Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. Superman, Brainiac. And Brainiac's one of my all-time favorite Superman villains and everything. And the film was a lot of fun, but one of the things that really, really, really sold it for me was the guy who played Brainiac. He had such a great voice. I'm pretty sure they did some kind of filter to his voice too, but like it sounds so great. And there's this one line I think of every time now whenever I think of Brainiac, when he says, "I've got the knowledge of 1,000 worlds." I was like, man, it's so cool. Still disappointed we haven't gotten a live action in a movie yet. And no, Superman 3, you don't count. Go away.
I know we got him on TV though, but not in the movie.
Yes. But now, Superman Doomsday. Superman Doomsday, I got on DVD sometime in 2008.
Was that your number 5 or your number 4 for Superman Doomsday?
Oh, it's a tie.
It's a tie. Okay.
It's a tie. Got on DVD sometime in 2008. I watched it through certain means. I'm not going to say it. Maybe it was on YouTube at one point. I'm not going to say it. But when I got my portable DVD player too, I watched the movie numerous times. And also, you know, Superman Doomsday is inspired, not based. They say in the trailer, and on the back of the DVD case here, it's inspired by one of my all-time favorite Superman storylines, Death of Superman. and the return of Superman, World Without Superman. And yes, being an inspiration, you cut out a lot of stuff, you make stuff too fast and everything, like not really properly developing everything, but I still managed to enjoy it. I thought the Fights of Doomsday was good. I actually like the idea that you do like an amalgamation of various Supermen for the clone. Everything from like Superboy to Hank Henshaw to Eradicator to even, you could say to an extent, Steel, because remember, he had the soul of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I love the fact that it's in the art style of Superman the Animated Series. And Teenage Brad, who is trying to convince himself so hard it was in canon with DCEAU, but in reality, it doesn't sync up. Yeah, Superman Doomsday. Great movie, except they killed a dog. Not cool.
Yeah.
John Wick would not be happy. There you go. My fifth picks.
All right, James, your fifth pick.
My number 5 is Superman Returns. So, we were just talking about Brandon Routh recently. The episode just dropped as of recording this, and he did a great job as Clark and as Superman, and the movie is gorgeous, but it's I have nostalgia, a lot of nostalgia for it because it was my first big screen Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked all about that in our episode.
Hashtag shameless plug.
We're all too young, I believe, to see any other Superman on the big screen before Brandon Routh hit it,
Yep. James, you and I are the oldest two here. So, yeah.
I thought that might be the case.
Yep. All right. My number 5. And my number 4 and 5, I think, can flip back and forth depending on how I feel. Like I can kind of argue with them, and these two films have a symbiotic bond, and we'll talk about more of that next month when Levi joins us. But my number 5 is also Superman Returns. I do really enjoy it. There's a lot I like in it. I'm not going to keep plugging my episode, but I explain a lot of it in that episode. I did see it like 5 times in theaters.
Oh, wow.
And it was my first Superman on big screen. I really enjoyed it. But there are things in it that I don't like. There are choices made in it I don't like. And I wish it did have some more action and more Superman things. But it's one I haven't watched in a while, and I've been kind of itching to, so I'm looking forward to when we do it here soon.
Yeah. It's got some great talent, and they did a good job with it.
I've always liked the cinematography for it, too. So,
yeah.
Oh. I love how we all wave in sync.
All right. Number 4, Levi.
I am over here adjusting my list as we talk because I think this top 4 for me, or at least the next 3, are pretty interchangeable, but I'm going to lock it in at Man of Tomorrow right here. I think it's a damn good origin story for Superman. It doesn't focus too much on the bits every casual person acquainted with Superman knows. Like, you don't spend a lot of time on Krypton dealing with all that. I think it also is a really good amalgamation of a lot of Superman stuff, kind of like Superman and Lois is. I think they borrow from the wider Superman universe to take the bits of things they like. The Superman Martian Manhunter relationship reminds me of, what is that, seasons 8, 9, 10 of Smallville, with the relationship Clark and Martian Manhunter having that.
I think season 9, or was it season 10?
I think he rescues or finds him and gives him his powers back in season 8, but that sort of like a gateway relationship is nice. And Ryan Hurst as Lobo is, if Jason Momoa wasn't playing Lobo in the Supergirl movie, it should be Ryan Hurst. I mean,
I agree.
I think it's kind of 1A, 1B right there. I think either of them would absolutely kill the role. But And I know James said he thought the animation in it was a bit flat, but I actually felt the same when it first came out. And then the more I've rewatched Man of Tomorrow, the more I really appreciate the animation in it. And I'm a fan of Kaiju Parasite, so
yeah.
I really hated how they didn't give him feet. Like the bigger he gets, he doesn't have feet. He just has like
we're gonna run on
legs. It's weird.
Oh, there's actually one thing we forgot to talk about with Superman Man of Tomorrow too. He doesn't defeat Parasite through action. He just through talking, trying to calm him down and everything. And that's actually my friend Richard, one of his favorite Superman moments too.
I love that, and I like that. It's a smaller scale. Like I get tired of like the third act Superman movies, like big alien invasion type thing, huge in a lot of stories. But I like how this is a little bit smaller, and that's one thing. Like I recently reread Superman's Secret Origin, and at the end, like I like that it's a smaller. It's like him versus Metallo on the streets. And I think sometimes that can really work with a first Superman movie. I did a whole pitch on my YouTube of like if I did a Superman trilogy, like how I would do it, and pulling from this kind of was my first film with that smaller scale. So
yeah, like in the animation, it's not that it was flat. I like the Tomorrowverse animation. I just preferred the animation from the previous universe.
Oh yeah,
that we had before. So that was a step down, but otherwise, I mean, like I said, Man of Tomorrow is still one of the better movies in the Tomorrowverse.
Yes, it was.
Also, some of these I judged by how much my wife liked them, and this was one she enjoyed quite a bit when we watched it the first time, and that could be because it came out during the pandemic, and new movies weren't really a thing. But we watched it, and she's like, "That was actually a really good movie." And Darren Criss did a great job voicing Superman. So
he did. All right. James, is it
my number 4?
Oh, I guess I got skipped this time.
No, Brad, I thought you gave I thought you gave yours.
No, he gave a 2-part part.
That's
5.
right. You gave a 2-part 5. Yeah. All right, Brad, you're number 4.
All right, number 4, the rare 3-way tie. That's gonna be I know, guys. It's gonna be a lot of ties. Remember that. It's gonna be All-Star Superman, Last Son of Krypton, and Superman versus the Elite. All-Star Superman, Tyler knows this. One of my greatest Superman sins is I haven't finished reading All-Star Superman. I started reading it back in 2 years ago, 23, but I never finished it. But from what I was reading, I was loving it. I love how crazy, it is embracing the crazy and the silliness of the Silver Age, but doing it well for the modern day age. In fact, not only do I have to trade when James Gunn announced that they're going to use All-Star Superman as inspiration for the new Superman movie, I just managed to stumble across at my then local comic book shop in Illinois. They had all 12 issues of All-Star Superman.
Oh, wow.
For $50. Yeah. And because I had a pull list discount, I got for $45. Yeah.
Nice.
But I imagine when I eventually watch All-Star Superman after reading the comic book, I'll enjoy it immensely. But Last Son of Krypton, I never watched it as it was edited into a film. I just watched it as single episodes, and I remember enjoying it a lot as a kid. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I remember liking it. But Superman versus the Elite. This, I'm pretty sure, was the first Blu-ray I ever bought. And because of that, it also comes with, as you guys can see, a digital copy, an ultraviolet copy, too, as well. And I watched it so many times. I haven't, ironically enough, I haven't read the actual comic book that often. I maybe read it once. But the movie itself, I really enjoyed it a lot. I liked a lot of the dialogue. George Newbern returning as Superman, great. And I just love the ending of it, too, where we see Superman being scary and brutal and everything, and everyone's scared and terrified, especially the villains. But after that, he reveals hey, it's all a show. And just to show you hey, I'm not that bad, or how scary I could be, but I have my morals and upbringings to prove to you that I'm a better person than that. The only bad thing I could say about the film, other than the art style being a little wonky, like me and Tyler said, his head, Superman's head, looks weird. The only other bad thing to say is they killed a dog. Boo. But yeah, fourth pick, those three.
All right.
All right. So my number 4 is Superman the movie. Superman 1978. And my preferred version that I've watched the most is the extended director's cut. The 3-hour cut is I've only ever seen it on, probably on television. I don't have the 3-hour cut currently, and I've seen the theatrical cut, but since I've owned them on DVD and then Blu-ray, I've watched the extended director's cut.
All right, makes sense. So my number 4, and like I said, my 5, 4, and 3 could probably just play around with each other, but my number 4 is actually Man of Steel.
Really?
I really like Man of Steel a lot. I do feel that it gets a little inflated. The scene where he fights the Thing by himself, I like, but it also just makes it feel like it elongates a lot of that third act or second act, technically, I think, because I don't think I'd count the third act till like when he fights Zod.
I had no idea you thought the Thing for Fantastic Four.
I really like the movie a lot, but there's just like that. But there's the structure for it. I wish we didn't always have to start on Krypton. But there's a lot.
It has the best Krypton.
Oh, it does.
Oh yeah.
And Krypton the TV series, because I like how they blended.
I was going to say, except for maybe the Krypton TV series.
they blended. Yeah, I know. They did a lot of good stuff on that show. But like I said, 4, 5, and 3 can kind of flip around, but it just depends on my mood and where I'm at. So, but I do really enjoy the movie. There's a lot too, and we'll talk about more of that next month. All right, back to Levi. We're at number 3, right?
All right, I've locked it in finally. We're gonna put Superman Returns right here.
All right.
A lot of the same reasons for Superman on the big screen. I am one of those people who went through a phase of liking this movie when it first came out and then hating it for a lot of years. And then I'm back to really loving it again. And I think a lot of it is strictly just Brandon Routh and appreciating it doesn't feel like he was given a lot to do in the movie in terms of acting and acting range, but what he is given to do, I think he does a really good job with. And I think it has some of the best Superman iconography that we get in live action.
It does have some great. It does have some beautiful shots in it.
Oh yeah.
And, all right, Brad, you're like quadruple tie for number 3. What is it?
Yeah. Well, for third place, you could argue it's a tie, or it's been edited to one movie: The Death and Return of Superman. I had to grab this off the shelf just a few seconds ago.
It's awesome.
Yeah, The Death of Superman, as I previously mentioned, is one of my all-time favorite Superman stories. In fact, it's actually one of the stories that got me into reading Superman. Though, ironically enough, I didn't read it until years later, like a few months later, because Mr. Teenage Brad was like, hey, there's this big omnibus that says Superman Doomsday. That must have the death of Superman in it. It's got everything after, but hey. But yeah, The Death of Superman, it features my all-time favorite villain, Doomsday. He's one of those villains that lives up to his name, Doomsday. He is Doom. He will bring an end to pretty much everything. And when it comes to animation and everything, I always want to see more Doomsday. And when they brought it to what was the name of this universe again? Like DC Animated Original Universe, whatever?
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. The post-Flashpoint movie.
Yep.
Universe. At the time, I was soured on this universe. I watched Justice League more, didn't really care for it that much. I watched Batman, Son of Batman. Didn't really care for it. And then I watched Storm of Atlantis again. It was just okay. And then when I found out they were doing like Death of Superman, I was like, oh, sweet. And I saw still, I'm like, oh, it's part of that shared universe again. But then when I watched it, something changed with my attitude towards that universe. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Not only did I like and enjoyed it, in some ways, it actually improved on the original story. I mean, yes, they cut out some things that I like with like the one teenage son who lives in Ohio.
Good job.
I missed that, and like the whole speech Superman was having for teenagers and stuff on television, like Cat Grant show. But at the same time, it has a way better lineup of Justice League. That is the one thing I was lacking from that story. It didn't have Batman, Flash, Green Lantern fighting everyone, but this animated movie, it did, and it was glorious. Kind of wish, Shazam was in there, but hey.
Mm-hmm.
But also with Doomsday in there, like, they made him like a real force of nature, and like they really pushed that PG-13 rating too. Because remember, he crash landed in the ocean, and some Atlanteans were unfortunate to come across him, and he just tore him apart. Like, good God, it's like shocked they could do that. Also, I like the little like homage to slasher movies when he was in the forest.
Yeah,
but absolutely loved the Death of Superman. Then we went to The Return of Superman, or Reign of Superman. I actually watched that for the first time. It was in theaters because they did that one day showing where they did 2 films into one movie. It was also like the one time I went to see a movie that had an intermission to it. Really enjoyed the story. Again, I'm also Return of Superman, one of my all-time favorite stories as well. And they did make some alterations that irked me a little bit, like I wish they had the destruction of Coast City. I wish that would have led to an Emerald Twilight movie. Emerald Twilight, and then eventually like a Zero Hour movie, but we could see why it didn't end up like that. Though Parallax and Darkseid teaming up would have been cool. But I did enjoy what they did. I thought the guy who played Superboy, who I believe was Jerome in Gotham, did a phenomenal job. Like Tyler here, wish they did more with Superboy in the universe. I thought Steel was cool. I thought Eradicator was cool. Big fan of the Solar Suit or Return of Superman suit, the black suit. Thought that was great. The only other thing I could think I did not like, though, was Cyborg Superman's design. It looked ugly. I do mean ugly in that art style. Like, I don't know what happened, but it just did not look great. But outside of that, I love the movie. It's actually my favorite animated Superman movie. Plus, when I went to see that showing, I met a friend that day too.
Nice. I won tickets for when they did that showing too, like in Columbus, and I couldn't get to it because I couldn't get off work. I was pissed.
I thought you said it was like some kind of like winter storm or something like that.
I thought it was work. I don't know. It's been too long.
Yeah,
all a blur.
It's been 5-6 years.
It was a busy time.
But yeah, third place, The Death and Return of Superman.
I'll comment on that later. All right, James, third place.
My third place is Superman Unbound. Matt Bomer, John. Why am I blanking? You said his name earlier.
John Noble.
Yeah, John Noble. Did the voice of Brainiac. I think they did a really good job with the story. I love that version of Brainiac. Matt Bomer did a really good job. Just a bunch of the little things. When the drone hits him, and I actually felt that. The time with Supergirl, her part in the story, giving us the history.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great Superman animated movie, and I like watching it.
All right. So it's my turn. My number 3, like I said, my 3, 4, and 5 can just be a kind of shuffle, is Superman the movie, the director's cut. This cut puts back in the fact that you get to see Kirk Allen and Noel Neal on the train with the little Lois. It also puts the gauntlet in when Superman goes down to go to Lex's hideout. I love this movie. I mean, it's mythic, it's legend, it's huge. The music. But what gets me is after Superman's first night out, I start to lose interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Lex steps in. I've never been a big Gene Hackman Lex fan because he's the pre-crisis. I enjoy him, like I respect it more now. But like I feel like some of his stuff with Otis is hokier. And I just like, and then I like, when Superman goes to stop the missiles and stuff too. But I feel like the movie kind of loses me a little bit after Superman's first night out. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the relationship dynamic between Superman and Lois in that movie, but it's got John Williams' music. So that definitely elevates because I love John Williams, period. Solomon and I were doing a quiz on YouTube of like themes from movies and stuff, like guess that theme from like a couple of notes. And it was like, John Williams. We had Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Jaws, Harry Potter, Superman,
Jurassic Park.
Malone, Jurassic Park, like the guy who wrote the music to my childhood. So that holds a lot of weight too. But yeah, I do very much enjoy it, but I think depending on the mood I'm in, it could fall. But like I said, 3, 4, and 5 can just kind of shuffle.
It's funny. Like we've got Superman the movie like up on our list here, and then we've had like Superman 2 like closer to 10.
I know.
And I swear to God, growing up, it was Superman 2 was the better of them. You know what I mean? And I think it's just because we got Zod, we got the action, those kind of things and stuff. And so growing up, you're like, no, Superman 2 is better, and then and on our list here, we've got Superman, the movie up here, but we've only got different movies in between. It's not like it's different Christopher Reeve movies. So it's funny how that even though, say, Superman 2 is like number 8 and Superman the movie is number 4, sometimes you might just want to watch Superman 2 instead. Like I'd rather watch Superman 2 instead of Superman the movie. And, it even might be your preferred Christopher Reeve movie, but which one is better which one is better ranked on our lists? It's funny.
It's true.
One thing I'm kind of surprised you didn't mention about, Tyler, when you were talking about Superman's first night out after that, I'm surprised you did not mention that whole conversation Superman had with Jor-El and the whole conversation about vanity and everything. Because, like, when I saw that with the 3-hour cut, I was like, why did they even cut this scene? It's beautiful.
It is a good scene. That's why, like, there are some good stuff that Jor-El like has, but then there's stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, the idea of like him intervening in human history and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's weird.
Bro, just him showing up intervenes with human history. Aliens exist now. Earth is forever altered. Okay? So, it's kind of, and plus, I don't really like Marlon Brando as Jor-El. I don't like that he says Krypton. I don't like the white hair, and I hate that they have tried to make people go back to that in comics and stuff, and the look of Jor-El like that. To me, Jor-El should look a lot like Clark, not be the same person.
Right.
Smallville in their flashback, and then they gave us Julian Sands as Jor-El. There's never been a Jor-El that I love. Like Russell Crowe's probably my favorite. Like I think the best, but there's never been one I'm like, that's it right there. You nailed it.
You don't like Angus McFadden?
No, like for his like 2 scenes, like no, I did not, but he wasn't bad. I just feel like it's a character that has just in the Superman canon, it is a character that has yet to make like that definitive version. So okay. We're at our top 2, boys.
I got Death of Superman here. I think I have said it before. I'm a sucker for a good doomsday story. I'm like Brad. For me, he's top 3. Superman. I don't even want to call him a villain. He's a force of nature. This movie does a really good job making him a force of nature.
He lives up to his name. He is Doomsday.
There's a few scenes in this that I think are just. I think you only pull off an animation. Him being wrapped in the cable bridge cables.
Oh yeah, I love that look.
And then I just pulled it up because I wanted to get the quote right. There's Lois is supporting Superman during the fight, physically holding him up, and you get the wild-eyed shot of Doomsday sprinting down the street, and Superman turns to her and says, "I've got a job to do, or I've got to get back to work." And I think that's like just, it's becoming a version of Superman I really like. I heard Grant Morrison talk about it in an interview recently that Superman's primary word shouldn't be hope, it should be action, that he inspires hope through his actions. And I think Death of Superman does a really good job of illustrating that. It's
Ooh, I like that. I concur.
It's a great showing of Superman. I think that we all love the sense that he does what needs to be done when it needs to be done, even if it's at the cost of his own life. And the stuff with him and Lois in this movie is really quite touching. And I think one of the better Superman and Lois, Clark and Lois relationships we've ever seen, but animated or live action.
I can't talk about this one yet.
We'll save the rest for you, Tyler.
Nah, you can talk about all you want. That's fine. All right, Brad. What tie do you have for number 2?
All right. In second place, I got 2 there tied, and it's Superman 2 and Superman 2025. Is that enough 2 puns for you right there?
That's a lot of good twos.
Superman 2 was the very first live-action Superman movie I've seen. Or, sorry, the very first Christopher Reeve movie I've seen. I remember as a child seeing like the very ending of it on, like, I want to see either HBO or HBO Family. It was like the part where like Superman has like Zod and friends and just throws him into the pit and dies unless you watch a different cut of it. But then one day in 2008, my sister went to my older sisters went to my local library. We got a VHS copy of Superman 2. This is when I was like in my infancy of my big Superman, like the infancy of who I am today when it comes to Superman. I watched the movie and I was never the same again. I absolutely love that movie. Yes, there's some weird things in it, like the weird powers and everything they never had in the comic books, the cellophane ass and everything. And then if I watch it again, I could probably have a better eagle eye with like, hey, that's not Gene Hackman. Who's that? But watching that movie, it just like had a big impact on me. Plus, it gave me something I want to see in live action for the longest time, a Superman fight where he battles another of his equals in terms of power and everything. And yes, Todd McFarlane, you're not hearing this, and we know we keep on talking about you, but hey, could you make us a figure of Zod from here? That'd be great. But then we get to, hello.
She's wearing her new Superman shirt she got, but you can't tell because she accidentally put it inside out.
Good job, kid. But then we get to Superman 2025. Oh, nice. You guys are going to give me some crap for this one. I know Tyler will.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen the trailer yet.
I let it go.
Yeah, I'm hoping this weekend I can do that reactionary video. I've been putting it off for way too long because I'm the king of putting stuff off. But going off by all the stills and images I've seen, from what friends have been telling me, and what really solidified this, it was that one behind the scene thing they released on Superman Day, and gave me my like sort of glimpse into that. It hit me differently, like unlike any other film I could think of. And seeing that and everything we've been seeing lately, like recently, like the whole Superman robots, which appeared in All-Star Superman, and I think they appeared in the Silver Age, right?
Yeah, they appeared in Superman vs. the Elite too.
And Superman Elite 2. Seeing all that, it's making me think, James Gunn is essentially doing like a blend of like everything we like into Superman to something new but familiar. Kind of like how IDW did their Ninja Turtles comic book series. Something familiar but different. And obviously, Superman 2025 is my most anticipated movie, of this year, superhero movie of this year, probably this decade. And the more I see it, and also, yeah, they brought back the red trunks, and that makes me happy because I love the red trunks of Superman. I don't care what people say. It looks great. I don't care how silly it looks. It looks great. Plus, I like what David Corset's... Is it Corset or Corswet?
Cornsweat.
Corswet. What he said about the trunks, too. He said something to the effect like, it's something for children to see so they're not afraid of them, or something like that.
He equated it to being like a wrestler, and it's something that kind of makes it his costume kind of stand out, and it makes it like a little funny too because it helps you not fear him.
Yes. And David, I actually have seen a little bit on. I have hazy memories of it, but like, was that one Netflix show he was on, Hollywoodland or Hollywood or something like that?
He was on Hollywood, and he was on the Politician. And what was funny is Jeannie and I watched Hollywood, and it has Darren Criss in it too. So it was like, 2 Superman in one show.
I love that. But yeah, saw him in Hollywood. Thought he was great. And as I told Tyler before, when they were filming it last year in Cleveland, I actually went to see him shoot it. I just pretty much got to see like the end of the day of it, but I got to see it, and I'm pretty sure I saw David because I saw someone walking around in a big robe, and they had red boots.
Yeah, lucky Brad.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, definitely. And then there's one other thing I was going to say about it. Okay. I'm disappointed we're doing Lex again, but I feel like we're going to get the battle armor.
I feel like Lex is the villain you should always do because he doesn't have to be your main protagonist. He just needs to be part of the world.
True. I actually like that idea. I like that idea. And yes, I do have my qualms of the fact this is another reboot, and poor Henry Cavill got done dirty again. But I'm so excited and hyped for this movie beyond belief, and I would not be surprised after I see this movie. It's in my top one spot, the number one spot.
All right, James. I bet you and Levi have the same number 1s and 2.
I think it sounds like it, because my number 2 is The Death of Superman. I mean, best animated Superman film, one of the best Superman movies. I really liked Jerry O'Connell as Superman. I think he did a great job in that universe as the voice. Getting his wife Rebecca Romaine to be Lois in that was really great as well. I think they did a good job. And the Doomsday kind of coming out almost out of nowhere, seemingly, in this universe, like he did originally, kind of just coming out of nowhere. We kind of theorized exactly what happened and how he arrived on Earth and everything, and how he became to be in that, but also the Justice League lineup, getting the primary Justice League going up against Doomsday as opposed to what was done in the comic books with like a C-tier Justice League. But getting to have them go up, and then the Wonder Woman fight between Doomsday was so good. Was really, really good. And yeah, just the extended battle between Superman and Doomsday was so good, and they did so much with Superman in that time. Not only was he in a fight for his life, but he was saving people along the way. They did a really great job with The Death of Superman, and it is one of the best Superman movies, period. Animated live action, it is one of the best.
All right. My number 2. I put Superman 2025. It's my prediction. Like I said, I might eat these, but I had this conversation recently. Is like, no Superman film has really done what I want it to do. Every Superman film, after I watch it, there's always something I feel like, okay, something's missing. I have very high hopes with this because I feel like so far everything's looked that they've drawn straight from the comics. My only hesitancy is like making sure that it doesn't feel like an ensemble film, that the other heroes that are in it are less in the movie, that it is focused on Superman. I do have a film that's kind of like the best of everything kind of mixed together.
Yep.
I choose to be optimistic and hopeful. And as I've said like before, is like, I really like Man of Steel. I really like Superman the movie. I like Superman Returns, but there's always something I'm kind of like, like I left me wanting something. So I'm going to be hopeful, and this is my number 2 for right now.
Nice pun, by the way. Be hopeful.
Yep. And then after it comes out and we all see it, we'll just have to email and see where we would have put. Now we already officially put this movie. So.
And as I said to you before, Tyler, and through Texas and everything, if this movie does really well, like I'm saying, like $1 billion, James Gunn is directing Justice League, without a doubt.
James Gunn will just direct all the Superman movies and stuff. Like I feel like he's going to end up making like his. He'll be like the first director to ever maybe do like 2 superhero trilogies.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So we have some directors that have done a trilogy. Gunn being one of them.
The guy who did the Ant-Man movies.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a list while you guys talk. Levi, give us your number 1.
I think me and James should just say this at the same time.
On 3, guys. 1, 2, 3.
Man of Steel.
For me, it's my favorite Superman and my favorite Superman story with my favorite Superman villain, and the movie has a deeply personal meaning for me, so that could be a large part of it. But I am in that group that if no one's out there defending Man of Steel anymore, then I'm dead. So
yeah.
Don't worry, we'll just put you through like a Kryptonian revival matrix and you'll come back.
There we go. No, I mean it's my favorite Superman movie. It's my favorite Superman actor. One of my favorite directors. So there's a lot for me to love about the movie. I just, Man of Steel I think is really great. It doesn't deserve as much hate as it gets. I mean, sure, if you don't like aspects about it, but I feel like the movie definitely doesn't deserve the majority of the hate that it gets.
Exactly.
It's very well made. It's got a lot of great talent in it.
The
Henry Cavill is Hans Zimmer's score is fantastic.
And we're 12 years later, and the special effects are still
some of the best in all of superhero movies.
I still wake up to I've had this alarm now for 12 years. What are you going to do when you're not saving the world?
Yeah.
I wake up, flight's my alarm. So
yep. It's made a rotation. It was my alarm. It was my ringtone. So, and it's got a really great cast. Michael Shannon Zod is such an amazing villain, even for one who believes that he's not the villain of the story. He is absolutely a villain, but a sympathetic one, even at that.
And as Brad's been saying, can we get a McFarlane of Michael Shannon Zod?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been in 2 movies.
You could do like a variant of the armor and without the armor.
Yeah.
I'd buy both.
Yeah, I definitely would.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And I mean, it's so good, you know. Honestly, in it, the only controversial bit to me, and not even in a controversial way, I just feel like it's a little bit weaker, is the tornado scene. But otherwise, I'm okay with what happens. You know, I'm okay with that, and you know, the way people talk about the truck scene where Clark asks if he should just have let them drown, and Pa Kent says maybe. You know, I think people just hear him say that, and they're automatically like, he never, like, that's not Pa Kent. He never would. When you watch Kevin Costner in that scene, when you watch him, when you listen to him, he doesn't believe in what he's saying. He doesn't believe in saying maybe. All his concern is taking care of his son at that moment, but he doesn't believe that he should have let them die or anything like that.
And his voice, it's so like, you see with his voice, he's like, maybe. He's like, you can see even in his voice, he's uncertain that he should even said that.
Yeah, it's in his voice. It's in the physical body language that he gives. Like, it's just, yeah, it gets a lot of hate that it does not deserve. Like, I can understand there are things that people don't like, and particularly the color and the saturation levels of the movie being a big thing for people, which is fine, understandable. But yeah, a lot of the other reasons is a lot of nitpicking stuff and really pushing hard at those nitpicks, you know.
I'm saving a lot of my thoughts because Tyler and I have talked about recording an episode on Henry's Superman.
You are. That's our June special.
Yeah,
it'll be the three of us.
So I'm saving a lot of my thoughts for then, but it's just one of those. It's over, like, you know, like James said, it's overhated. A lot of the hate is, I think, forced and regurgitated and directed at Zack Snyder's fans as opposed to the movie itself. So,
all right, Brad, we skipped your number one just because those two had the same. So your number one.
All right, my number one. It's a three-way tie. And for the process of elimination, you probably figured out what it is. But my tie is Superman the movie, the theatrical cut, Superman 2, the Donner cut, and Man of Steel. Superman the movie, the theatrical cut. I've seen the 3-hour cut. Never seen the special edition for whatever reason.
That's weird.
I've been meaning to.
That's weird.
I know, right? I watched the 3-hour cut, but not the special edition. It's like 20, 30 minutes of extra footage. But so after seeing Superman 2, I did a weird, watch in order, because at the time my Hollywood video only had certain films, certain Superman films. Watched Superman 3 after 2, liked it at the time. Going back to it now, I'm like, probably not if I ever watched it again. But then Superman 1, I watched, I liked it, but I thought it wasn't as good as 2. I felt like it was long, it lacked the action and everything I want to see, like him fighting someone and everything. And for years, I'd been meaning to rewatch it, because I watched that back in 2009, I'm going to say, right? Then comes 2018. I am recovering from a work-related injury, and I say to myself, you know what? I'm going to pull out my Superman DVD set, the tin set that they put out years ago. One of my all-time favorite DVD sets, if not my favorite DVD set. And I say to myself, Brad, it's been about 9, almost 10 years. Why don't you give Superman the movie a rewatch? And at that time, it was like, it's the 80th anniversary of Superman, I'm watching a bunch of Superman stuff. I finally watched this first Superman serial with Kirk Allen, loved it. Watched the first season of the George Reeves show, loved it. And then I decided, okay, let's return to Superman the movie. No pun intended. Superman Return. Ha 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 ha. But watching that movie many years later, and having grown a lot with my tastes in movies and also noticing things and everything, I fell in love with that movie. It had a big change on me to the point where I will say this right now. Superman the movie, Superman 2, and Man of Steel are not only my all-time favorite superhero movies, they're definitely within top 5 favorite movies of all time. But yeah, then watching Superman the movie, I would also learn to pick up a lot of things because since then I had like a lot more appreciation for film, especially like how they did old special effects and everything, all the hard work they would put in there, from everything from like rear projection to all of the flying scenes. Because a lot of people don't know they had an event a lot of new flying techniques for that movie. And remember, no CGI and blue screen probably looked terrible back then.
They did do a little bit of green screen. There's for one of the flying shots, they actually had Chris like this. His legs were bent down, covered in green, and they had a fake back. The cape dripped over it for a certain.
Yeah, I heard something about that. Now I remember. But yeah, then just watching the movie, I was just fell in love. It instantly became one of my all-time favorite movies. I appreciate all the hard work. Christopher Reeve immediately escalated back to being one of my all-time favorite Superman, him and Henry. And yeah, it was an experience. And then after that, I rented the 3-hour cut from my local library, watched that. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It's long. Don't get me wrong. It's long. It's 3 hours, but I liked a lot of the extra stuff they added to it. Especially, of course, as we previously mentioned, the vanity scene.
Mm-hmm.
That scene, I don't get why they cut it. It's such a great scene. It could have been such an iconic scene had they kept it in the movie. But yeah, Superman the movie, definitely not first place. First place spot tied in with the others. Now, Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. The only Superman film, only version of Superman 2 you can get on Blu-ray separately. Because, I have this one collection right here. One from the Superman Celebration in 2019. For whatever reason, you can't buy Superman 2, the theatrical cuts, on Blu-ray separately. For whatever reason, you could do it on DVD, but whatever. Sorry, there's other things I forgot to mention about Superman movie too. I then watched it at the Superman Celebration in 2018. That was a weird cut they did, where it was the 3-hour cut, but they trimmed a few things. I thought that was great. And then when they did a theatrical re-release of Superman the movie, not only the 80th anniversary of Superman, but as well as the 40th anniversary of the movie, saw in theaters and loved it. But Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. This was a film, I want to say it was my first director's cut I've ever watched. Because I watched it, I want to say back in 2009. Again, for that awesome tin Blu-ray, DVD set. In fact, can I pull it out right now? Without stuff falling over? Gotta show off the collection, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
First director's cut I ever watched, and I thought it's a superior movie. Superior as much as I love the Lester cut of Superman 2. Again, the film has a lot of importance to me. It just felt better, Granted, there'll be some inconsistencies and everything, like, for example, Christopher Reeve's body build at the time, because I believe you said they used one of the screen tests for the movie, correct?
Yep.
And at the time, Chris wasn't as buff as he was then. Nope. But it's definitely an interesting look into what could have been had Richard Donner had his way and make Superman 2 the way he did. And Zod, I thought, was a lot better. A lot of the cheesy goofiness from 2, as much as I love it, is gone. Zod feels more like a threat. But one of the other things I really like about it is we got rid of the powers Superman and friends never had. I mean, granted, yes, it's Silver Age Superman, and he had a buttload of other powers, but we didn't have that. We didn't have the cellophane S or anything like that. And hey, for those who complained about the ending of Man of Steel, at the end of Superman 2, the Donner cut, you got to see the supervillains survive their fall into the pit of death, even though in the theatrical cut they died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely loved the Donner cut. I thought it was great. But then we get to Man of Steel. Man of Steel is a film that has a lot of personal attachment to me. For one, as you guys can see, Blu-ray. was one of the two films at the time that were coming out were the only two films I cared about the most in the world. As much as I loved the MCU and whatever else was coming out at the time, Star Wars and everything, there were two films I was most anticipated for. Like, if I had to choose what two movies to look forward to and nothing else, Man of Steel is one of them. The other being, Godzilla 2014. Man of Steel was my first theatrical Superman movie. I did not see Superman Returns in theaters. I saw it on DVD. And the more and more I heard about Man of Steel, for one, like, hey, it's Zack Snyder. I like him. So I got him directing everything. So, a lot of action sequences and everything. I did feel bad Brandon Routh did not get to come back as Superman. That is what it is. The fact that this film is going to be the beginning of a new cinematic universe. Great. But then when I watched the movie in theaters, it was one of the very few theatrical experiences I can think of where it had an impression on me. Like a big, big impression on me. For one, as we previously mentioned, absolutely loved the score to the point where I have it on CD. I thought the action sequences were great. It gave me what I wanted to see for the longest time. Superman kicking butt on the big screen with a big budget and everything. Man, it was great. It was awesome. We finally got to see what Superman could do. And with Zack Snyder and his action choreography, it looked great. Absolutely looked great. Yes, it's got some problems, Yes, it's kind of a bit dark and gritty. Yes, that color palette at times looks ugly. I mean, it could be worse. It could be that, I don't even know if you guys remember this. Sometime after Man of Steel, there's just one video, like viral video that I was complaining about and everything. It's like, Superman looks like a corpse and everything. And then I watched that video and I watched the movie. I'm like, you just put a filter over that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yes, Superman and Zod caused a lot of destruction and whatnot. But my argument for that is this is not only Superman's first day of truly being Superman and everything. He's fighting someone who not only has the same powers as him for the first time, he's fighting someone with military training.
That's why the scene where Jor-El fights Zod in that kind of bugs me. I would have liked it better if Jor-El was like fighting as like scrapping and was sucking, and Zod's kind of like just toying with him, and then Jor-El gets like one good hit in, and it pisses Zod off, and that's why he reacts and stabs him. Like, because I just feel like Jor-El's like supposed to be the scientist, Zod, like you just said, the military man who's trained, and Jor-El's like fighting and holding his own. I'm like,
like that. But yeah, yes, there's destruction and whatnot and everything, but as I mentioned before, Zod's got military training. I don't believe the whole Superman Zod, they destroyed half the city. Nah, man. Half that city was already destroyed by the World Engine device, man. And then there's this one stupid argument that always got under my skin. It was like, why didn't Superman just fly Zod into space? And I'm like, dude, did you watch the movie? He did that. Crashed right into Wayne Enterprises, satellite too and everything. But Zod was a villain who was like, you ruined my species' future. Absolutely ruined it. I'm going to take away all these people you love, this whole species, this world. I'm going to take them away from you by hand. And he didn't care where you landed. He's like, I'm not like, one joke people would say, he's not like a Dragon Ball Z villain. He's like, I'll go to this one area of the world where there's no life and we can fight out that way. No, Zod's like, I don't care about that. I'm going to murder everyone. Everyone. That innocent family, dead. But, and yeah, the controversial thing that happened in the end too, where Superman snaps the neck. My philosophy when it comes to Superman and killing is only when it's absolutely positively necessary. Doomsday is a prime example of that. I know Tyler might disagree about this, but during Byrne's run, where he killed the Kryptonian, the pocket dimension Kryptonians. I thought that was justified. Because remember, those guys were pre-crisis, and you got pre-crisis fighting post-crisis. Post-crisis is going to lose. He's going to lose badly, and everyone's going to die. And did Superman kill Darkseid in Final Crisis? I can't remember.
I don't remember. Final Crisis is weird. I need to revisit it.
Yeah. But,
no, Final Crisis was Batman shooting him with the time bolt, the God bullet.
Yeah, but then like there's this part where like Darkseid's was like not essence, his full form, whatever was coming by, and then Superman screamed into the whole machine Brainiac made, and it like destroyed him.
Maybe,
it's been a while since I've watched.
It's been quite a few years since I read.
Yeah. And as
Final
Tyler
Crisis.
said, Final Crisis is weird. But yeah, there's only like rare exceptions where Superman should kill, and I felt like that was justified and everything. But the thing I hate what people said about that scene is like, oh, Superman's a cold-blooded killer. He didn't feel anything about that. The moment he kills Zod, he goes down on his knees. You look in his face, and you see him like on just his face, just reading his emotions on his face. Not only did he just kill someone for the first time, he just essentially killed the only other member of his species that isn't on the Phantom Zone and everything. And you see how that emotionally wrecks and destroys him. Granted, I wish that had been followed up in the later films, but it is what it is. But then once the movie was done, I said to myself, and I can still remember this to this day, this is my favorite modern day superhero film. And you know what? 12 years later, it still is to this very day. And then sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll say the scene where he drops down, he screams and cries is great. But what pisses me off is the next scene is the hokey scene of him throwing the satellite. You know?
Oh yeah, the drone.
I feel like it just undercuts the emotional beat we left on. Like I feel like that's one of those scenes where they just didn't really know where to put it.
I just think he's hot, kind of hot.
Yeah, like we get that line, which is like, you just completely killed the vibe that we left the last scene on. So if you just take that scene out, like the transition from is so much better. But
yeah. And then what else was I going to say? Yeah, after that. Oh, one part I really like is near the end where you see Clark when he's a kid, and you see Pa Kent working on his bus. Not bus, a car. And you see him, he's got the cape around his neck, he's doing the Superman pose and everything. That to me is like a message of hope. Like, I can't put into words how to describe it, but like, it seems like a hopeful image to me. And then, yeah. I absolutely loved Man of Steel when it came out. As I said, even bought the soundtrack and everything.
Soundtrack was great.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I'll get to that in a minute, too. But then after that, Man of Steel was also a rarity for me, too. Because I rarely see movies twice or more in theaters. Like, if you were asking me how many have I seen twice in theaters, I could probably count it on one hand. Maybe with maybe two extra fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And then remember, I've been around for 35 years. And I've seen a bunch of movies. But the other important thing about this movie was it was the first time I ever took someone out on a date to see a movie.
Oh.
And a date in general, too. Didn't work out, but it was still a good experience for me and everything. And, like, learning experience, too, and stuff. Like, what to do on the first day and everything and whatnot. But the other big thing is the score, the music. I absolutely love Hans Zimmer. He's arguably my favorite composer, though I'd probably say John Williams is more so. But when he scored Man of Steel, it was beautiful. Like I said, as I keep on reminding everyone, should probably get the vinyl because we have a record player. But the music is beautiful. Like when I first heard what are you gonna do when you're not saving the world in the trailers, I was like, this is phenomenal. This is the Superman theme I've been waiting for. I absolutely love John Williams' theme. Absolutely, positively do. I love the music he's done in both Superman 1 and whatever they used for Superman 2, even though he didn't compose that movie. And I love the theme and everything too. But whatever you're gonna do for whatever Tyler, what's it called? Because I'm like stuttering right now.
What are you gonna do when you're not saving the world?
Thank you. It hits me. Like for one, I think it'd be a banger wedding march. Like just like imagine how it's like the slow beginning and everything. You have like all the bridesmaids, the groom slowly go by, and it goes like da 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 ba 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 da da ba ba da ba, and that's like when the groom and bride walk in. But the other big reason why it's important to me, and it's an emotional one too, is I, for years, suffered from really bad social anxiety. I still have it to a degree. 2020 is when like my social anxiety was like the absolute worst. But one thing that's helped me gone through my social anxieties is Superman. Back in 2018, 2019, when I went to the Superman celebration, just talking to people there helped me out with those. And might have actually met someone too digitally in 2021. Could you imagine that, Tyler? Could you imagine that person?
For real?
Yeah. But again, Superman celebration helped me out with some of my social anxieties. But come 2020, I made a little playlist to myself. It's my inspirational playlist. Like whenever I'm about to do like some big adult thing, like asking out someone, doing a big test or some big task or anything, I would play Whatever You're Gonna Do When You're Not Saving the World, Flight. I feel like there was a third one that's like kind of similar. I can't remember. Godzilla King of the Monsters, the main theme from that, because hey, I love that movie. Plus a scene from My Hero Academia. But those songs in particular, Man of Steel's, helped me through a lot. And one of the biggest things that helped me out was this. When I did my driver's license test back in 2020, yes, it took me a while to get my license, but that's a whole different story for another day. I played that thing. I had it going on in my head. I listened to it, took that test. I mean, one big boo-boo, but I passed. I got my license, and it's one of the happiest days ever. But the other reason why it's important to me is like a lot of first dates, especially like the first girlfriend I ever had, and my girlfriend now. Before I met them, I had that music playing to get me that inspiration, that drive, that push to say, hey, this is going to be a good first date. And look where I'm at now. And then, of course, I don't have it now because I wore this to throw everyone off. My Man of Steel Superman shirt, it's my all-time favorite t-shirt. You can see how worn out it's everything, not just by the abs and everything, but it's like the little flanks and everything. Yeah, like Man of Steel is a movie that had a lot of big impact on me. A lot of positive impact too, and helped me become a better person. Even though some people say like, "Hey, it sucks," or "Hey, this side of the fandom is terrible," to which I'm like, kinda. But still, absolutely love Man of Steel and Superman the movie and Superman 2 the theatrical cut. And sorry that's like a long tangent, but you guys saw why they're important and my favorites.
Well, it's appreciated, All right, my number one is
Superman 4.
It's the death of Superman. We talked on it earlier. I really like this movie. I think it did a better job telling the death of Superman's story. The way they did the Clark and Lois relationship. The line, like Levi talked about the one line earlier, but the one that I like is when she's like, Clark, you need to rest, get for help. And he's like, I am the cavalry. Like I am the last line. Get the line from Wonder Woman when he shows up. And she's like, Clark, don't hold back. If you do. And it's a great version of this story. And I'm the one that complains also about how much I hate that Superman's movies and stories only work for his death so many times. That's all they ever want to do. But I really enjoy this movie.
Yeah. Question for you. Go on, sorry.
No, I was like, I like the scene when he's on the bridge and he stops Doomsday. But
Great
then he flies down and saves the kid and hands him his teddy bear.
Yeah.
And takes the moment, I really enjoy just his whole like presence in this movie. And I like you guys talked about earlier, using the real Justice League, having all those characters and how Doomsday just works his way through all of them.
Including Batman.
The Bibbo scene, of Bibbo giving the speech, is amazing. This is my favorite version of Bibbo. There's a lot that I really like and love in this movie, and yeah, it's my number one.
What did you guys think about how like Doomsday was actually kind of influenced by the BVS version? Because Doomsday kind of had the whole heat vision.
Well, if you pay attention, Doomsday is made by Darkseid, and it's actually taking from, if you go back and watch Justice League War, when he has Superman and he's turning Superman into
okay, I get you.
One of his parademons, and Batman has to go and help break Superman out. That's how he gets his DNA, and he uses that as part of his way to make.
That's a nice little callback.
Yeah, he sent Doomsday in as the thing to take out the first line to take out Superman before he can invade.
And a lot of people hate that Darkseid, created Doomsday in this. I don't mind it because it works for this series. I've also kind of had my own issue with Doomsday being Kryptonian. I always liked the idea of just Doomsday not having a backstory, but of course you can't do that anymore. You have to create backstory for everything because somebody will. At least Dan Jurgens got to do it, but
but it is cool though if you think about it, because there's a big tie-in between like Superman's origin. I mean, Superman's homeworld and Doomsday. It's like a nice little connection and everything. And there's a reason why he's Doomsday.
His world comes back to kill him in the end. And I like this movie. It works. Like, I like the Lois and Clark, like when she throws the rock and everything to try to distract Doomsday. Yeah. And Clark, flies and breaks Doomsday's neck. There's so much I just enjoy in this film. Mm-hmm. It's my number one. I think.
What do you guys think of Doomsday's design, by the way? Because they kind of did like an amalgamation of like the classic look and kind of a little bit of New 52. Because like he had like a little bit of horns, if I remember right.
Yeah, like it was. I liked it. I liked the Doomsday when they go back to having like the bones around the eyes and stuff.
Oh yeah, I love that look.
And one thing with Doomsday period that I haven't really liked is each time we see Doomsday, they give him more and more Kryptonian powers. Because he is supposed to be Kryptonian and stuff. Like, I used to joke, like, oh, when Superman fought Doomsday, all he do is just fly him into space. But now Doomsday can fly.
Remember, he had a Green Lantern ring at one point, and he actually killed one of the Guardians.
It's true. So it just like more and more, he has heat vision. He can fly. He's just becoming more and more powerful.
And if you guys remember the one issue after Our World's at War, they gave Doomsday, it's like only, to my knowledge, only appeared once in the comics. But like he kind of had like fire breath. But like Superman just like phased through it. But like for whatever reason, it never returned again.
I don't remember that. I'll have to look for that. But all right, well, we're gonna put a pin in it here, fellas. I want to thank Brad, Levi, and James, the Giant Killer, for joining us tonight and ranking our Superman movies. I thought it was pretty awesome because I liked in the middle how sometimes we were like right on or right behind each other, and then we had some wild cards in there, and then even in our top, like we were different. So it was fun. It was a good time. So you guys take care and remember,
Look up in the sky.